Hello to you and welcome to some more Photoshop beginner tutorials here on Pixel Perfect with me, Richard Jr. as your instructor. Now, in our previous episode, we looked at how to remove the background of certain images. Today we're going to be doing the complete opposite. So today we're going to make an image go from this to this and back to this. Very easy to do in just a few steps. So without further ado, and with you ready to learn, let's get into today's video, guys. So before we do it, I'd like you to understand some theory. To the best of my intelligence, there has been no machine created ever by mankind which is able to create something out of nothing. What I'm trying to say is that, for instance, in this particular image, you and I don't know what's behind this man's thigh. I can only guess that this person is female, but I don't know the shape of her head, I don't know the size of the body, and the computer too doesn't know. That's just it, the computer doesn't know. The only thing it can do is try to recreate something to resemble something by sampling the portions around that area. So for instance, if we were to make the computer remove this man's hand from this particular area, what it would do is it would sample the pixels in this portion, okay? Use this information to recreate something that will fit in this section to make it look as if the man's hand has been taken away and we are able to see it through. But in reality, no one knows what's behind the man's hand, and so for that reason, the computer cannot originally create, it can only copy and paste, which is what we're going to be doing today, and that's how we're going to be removing objects to preserve background. We're going to employ two different tools to achieve this. We're going to be using the Spot Healing Brush tool, and the Clone Stamp tool. So let's get started with the Spot Healing Brush tool. Now in this particular image, we see that there is a gradient of colors from this sunset red to this dark green, blue, well, whatever color it is. And then we have a hand in the middle. Now we want to get rid of the hand while preserving the background. This is very easy to do because the surrounding area is very distinct from the hand, and so this is going to be easier to do. And so it will be wiser to use the Spot Healing Brush tool than any other tool because of the magic the Spot Healing Brush tool works. So we simply go click on the Spot Healing Brush tool. Alright, you'd have to adjust your brush size to fit. You may also want to take a look at the hardness. I'm going to soften it out a little. Alright, this is good. And then you just simply paint around the area you want to get rid of this way. And hold. Just wait, let the computer do its magic. Waiting. You're gonna love this. Ha! There it is. The hand has disappeared. It has disappeared and everything is so seamless. But I can see from over here, I can feel a particular dent here, some dent which looks like some sort of line. That same thing is here. So this tells me that the computer has done some copy and paste, which is what I was trying to explain earlier. And that is it for the Spot Healing Brush tool. You could employ this to do a whole lot of things. So we're going to move on to the next tool, which is the Clone Stamp tool. So for this particular image, you could also use the Spot Healing Brush tool, but okay, let's just look at it in practice. So I'm going to use the Spot Healing Brush tool and see how it performs. Of course, you also have to get rid of the shadow, otherwise the work wouldn't be as smooth and perfect as it is. Now look at what happens. It's as if the woman was never there at all. But if you look closely, you'd realize a certain something doesn't fit over here. It just doesn't work. You guys, you see it? The waves are missing from this portion. And so this simply tells us that we need the Spot Healing Brush tool does not work perfectly as we'd want it. So that means we're going to have to employ some other techniques and tools. So we're going to be using the clone stamp tool together with the spot healing brush tool to achieve the desired effect we want. But first of all, you'd want to have to convert your layer into a smart object to preserve its editability, because we are going to want it. That's especially if you don't want to revert back to its original form. And then double click on this layer to open it up. Just wait a while. Good. It's opened up over here. And now we can edit it without fear. So, as I already explained, I know I already explained how the clone stamp tool works, but let's just go over it again. So what the clone stamp tool does is that it simply samples a particular portion and pastes it elsewhere. And so this is what it does. So it means I can recreate this woman here again, make two of them. But that's not what we want to do. We want to get rid of the woman. And so for that reason, and so that means we're going to be copying portions of the sun to paint out the area in which the woman is. Now, if you look at this picture, you'd realize that the light is flowing from right to left in this sort of direction. And so whatever you're going to be doing, you'd want to have to paint from right to left, simply because you'd want it to look as realistic as possible. So that's what we're going to be doing. So first of all, you may zoom in to select the portion you'd want to copy, make it a good distance so that it works perfectly, but it should also be as close as possible. So hold down Alt, left click, move to the area you want to paint, and just drag to paint gently. Now when we get to the shoreline, we are going to want to stop, zoom in quite a bit, reduce the brush size, hold down Alt again, click, paint. Now watch it. You see where the arrow is? You see where the plus sign is? It's so close to the water and it is copying the portions of water, and hence you would see such copy on our brush over here. And so that's an error we want to avoid. So we go back, Ctrl Z, copy some more portions, paint. But then when we get here, we realize that the sand in this section is quite dark, but the copied part we are bringing is brighter, and so we'd want to change the direction. We'd want to change our source, and so you reduce your brush size again to avoid copying. Left click, drag. Okay, it's not as perfect as drag. So now that we've gotten to the shoreline, I believe it is better to use the spot healing brush tool here. It would work better than the clone stamp tool, and so I'm going to use it, spot healing brush tool. Yeah, this size is just about good, and then paint out, and let's see what happens. Guys, you see this looks way better than before. It looks way better than before. That is, we've been able to take out the woman. What we do next is get rid of this shadow, and it's very simple to you. Could just use the spot healing brush tool to paint through and it disappears. Good. Or you could have also used the clone stamp tool to paint that area again. So you hit Ctrl S to save, or you could just use the save on the file menu. It saves and then applies and then updates the smart object, updating smart objects. And then when you go back to your initial image, it's missing. Guys, you see it. So whatever you edit in this particular tab would reflect here. And so if in case you'd want to go back to the original, you simply go select the smart object and hit Ctrl Z, and the woman returns. And it's as simple as that. So guys, that is it for today's tutorial. I hope you guys understand the science behind the removal, and I hope you would also practice to do it. Guys, that is the only way to learn. You have to practice and experiment. I could have told you what most of these things do, but I'll just leave it for you. Go experiment with them, do some more research, and enjoy design. See you in our next episode.